Good morning and welcome to Fitch Painting and Repairs Garage. Today's project is continuing on the 1986 Honda Shadow VT700c. We got the carburetors installed and did a low speed test on her. Throttle response is much improved. Got the carburetors balanced. I think that was the main problem. The carburetors were out of balance. It's got a 2 carburetor setup on it. And you got a balancing screw up in here. You get the vacuum gauges hooked up, and they got to be within 40. So I think that was the main key. Changed the diaphragms in it, added a spacer to the jet needle, and retained the original 42 pilot jet and number 12 main jet. I got new kit and everything, but the only thing I used out of it was the float needle seat, and the diaphragms were separately, and the gasket out of that kit, the float bowl gasket. So got my idle screw set back where it's supposed to be. It's not threaded in way far to keep maintaining the idle properly. So that's what we're doing. And then we've got a few other things that we need to do. We're going to hook up the foot clutch on this bike, and this is our setup that we fabricated. We took a rear brake reservoir actuator for a Kawasaki Vulcan, and we adapted it. We built a plate here to mount it. It mounts right here, like that. And that mounts down in there. We got to clean up some of the welds, fabricate a little bit, trying to come up with some kind of return spring to help hold it in position. I've got a welded tab on, I believe, and I've got the hand shift set up on here. I'm going to put the foot clutch on. Let's see, what did we get? We got a, I was looking for a 12-inch hydraulic line, and I could not find a 12-inch with the ends already on it. So we got a 24, and it's a good thing I did, because I think this is probably the length that I'm really going to need. We got a bad reservoir on the clutch up here. She's leaking from where the actuator piston goes in there. I don't know if you can really see it in there, but she's leaking. The reservoir keeps going dry. This braided line's way too long to run all the way down to the slave cylinder here. So now all we got to do is go from the little actuator and loop over. There's a big chrome cover that goes over all this, and so it'll come down into that. Change the crush washers, banjo bolts, hook that up later today, bleed it out, make sure everything's working. And then we've got a couple other things after we do the hydraulic lines and the clutch setup. We just got to hook these up, get that working properly. Because this is going back on the sidecar package. So I added a rear seat pylon and backrest assembly to this, but because I've only got one bolt here, these frame rails normally come out to about here, and you would have 2 bolts hold your frame and keep it from moving. And since my daughter's going to be riding back here, I had a bracket set up here on the bottom. It comes out and attaches right here, so that space, there's a bracket that would go in there. But I had fabricated it out of some pretty thin metal, and it bent when I was goofing around with it. So we're going to fabricate this exact thing here out of a little thicker stock material. We're going to cut them out, build a new set, nice thick gauge, and that way it'll hold that so it doesn't move around. So we got that to fabricate. We're also working on, this is the lower mount setup here for the sidecar package, and that mounts right here. That would mount right here, and then you got a mount that comes off of that for the lower sidecar, and then you got this one here, and then this one here, and then there's another one that goes right there. And so we got to finish fabricating this. We had to round off this because it was contacting the exhaust down here, and it wasn't spaced out properly. So we're going to cut a new set of spacers for it. We had to round off this corner. We rounded off the edges a little more. We still got some work to do to tidy this up, deburr everything, and remount it on the bike. And then we've got these rear mounts here for the foot pegs and this rear lower sidecar mount. And my exhaust brackets are ugly. So we're going to work on tidying this all up. We're going to shrink these down a little bit, cut off a few, round it off a little bit better, make it look a little bit better, and get everything reattached. And then also here on my lowering blocks that I built for the rear shocks, we gotta fix this little part here to where the shock fits in there better. And you can see here where it's been impacting this frame when it swings up. So we're just gonna have to work on dealing with that. Maybe I can grind a little bit off of that, but I don't think so. So that's where we're at today with this project. Let's see what else we got to do. Yeah, we got to figure out a mount for the mirror up here, since we're removing the reservoir and the hand clutch system. We're going to have to come up with a new mount for the mirror. I do believe I'll be able to use one of these kind of P-clamps like this. We'll use this probably to go around the bar and put the mirror on, and that way we've still got the mirror, because I found riding with the sidecar package we definitely need both mirrors. So that's where we're at on the project today. Yesterday we had the Dyna out and the wife's Vulcan out. She had a little bit of hard starting issues with that after I did the air induction system deletion on her bike. I think it just made the bike a little more cold nature on startup. Just got to use the enricher. Pull the enricher out. She fired right up every single time. It's got a good battery in it. Maybe it could just be that the fuel was a little bad because the bike sat so much. I think that's probably what the deal was. But the Dyna ran great yesterday. I hung out with the family, mom, dad, my aunt and uncle, and Leesburg Bike Fest was yesterday, and so we rode out through the forest. We never made it into Leesburg, but we made it over to Eustis, and they were supposed to have a car show and a music event. Apparently we were there way too early, so there was nothing really going on, but the whole point was to go for a nice, awesome ride. And that's what we accomplished. So back on this today, we will be working on this, continuing on and seeing what we're going to do, to modify those brackets. And eventually, we'll get all that done, get them all painted, remounted on there. But, we've got several test rides to do in between. We got to test the clutch. I still haven't had it out on the highway yet, so I got to get this rear fender mounted. Back on there, get everything back on so that I can take it out and ride it before I attach it to the sidecar. It's not sticking, but we changed the brake light. We originally had the brake light up here, had the stock one mounted there. It was a stock Honda brake light. Since I put that rear pylon on, there's not enough room. So we got a trailer light down here and an LED, but my LED is not sticking. So we're going to have to put a little bit more two-sided tape on that to hold it, but it definitely brightens it up. Y'all want to see? Let's get the gear. We got to get the key back in it. Oh, yeah. There's my tail light. You really can't see because it's so bright in here, but you'll be able to see it here in just a minute. Hey, where's she at? There she is. She's nice and bright. Boom. Boom. Nice and bright. So we should be able to see that. And plus the sidecar is going to get some LED lights on it as well. So that's the plan. We are going to keep moving on this. The carburetor repair went well. She seems to be running great. I think we had a little bit of an intake leak from this rubber boot here, and then I think the carburetors were just out of balance. I don't think that diaphragm with that little bit of silicone on it was actually the problem. I think it was the carburetors out of balance and a massive intake leak on one side. Because what I found was I had, indicating by my spark plugs, was that one cylinder was running super lean and one cylinder was running super rich. So that could be the reason. Stay tuned. We'll keep you updated. Have a good one.